Guys, are you understanding what I am saying? I started with philosophical approach and I am saying what is philosophical approach, who are the exponents of philosophical approach, what are the features of philosophical approach, what are the criticisms of philosophical approach. As a result, we enter into the next phase. So whenever you are studying an approach, you have to study only these features, these things. One is, what is it? What are the, who have expounded it? What are the features of it? What are the criticisms? Any present day relevance? Any present day relevance? And then that is called conclusion. This is going to be the conclusion. This is how you have to write. Why you have to write this? Because first we discussed what is the meaning of philosophy, political science. Remember the unit name. Political science, political theory, meaning and approaches. Meaning I have discussed so far. Now I am saying approaches. How I have come to approaches by telling you the evolution history. Now, in that approaches, the first approach is traditional approach. In that traditional approach, the major component is philosophical approach. What is it? Who has been propounded it? What are the features of it? What is the criticism? Present day relevance. You have to write the answer in the same way. In the same way, right? Now, Plato, Leostross, Clemens, Daniel Zermino, Rawls are the proponents of it. You have to remember these guys. Now, what are the features of philosophical approach? There are certain features of philosophical approach. The first feature of philosophical approach is it is normative in its discipline. It is normative in dealing with issues. Normative in dealing with issues. What does this mean? It deals with a thing saying that this is going to be dealing with norms or principles. Philosophy is dealing with principles. What are the principles that they study? What is justice? What is liberty? What is equality? Right? They study these things in philosophical approach. They say justice is, what is justice in norms? What is liberty in norms? What is equality in norms? They say this. Next one is the second feature of this political science or this philosophical approach is it uses methods of logical reasoning. Logical reasoning. Uses methods of logical reasoning. They don't use facts, rather they use the logics. Logics means how the things are being done without any substantial proof. They propound the theory and they say that this theory is going to be caused because of this. So they use the method of approach is logical reasoning rather than using the so-called facts. So they fail again here because they are not using facts, they are just telling on logics. How they are going to tell logics based on ideals. They say that this is the ideal that you have to follow and this ideal is going to survive forever. Based on that, they are going to give you or they are going to say that it is a logical reasoning approach. The third one is they are most worried about what ought to be rather than what is. They don't look at what is the exact present day situation. Rather, they say how the situation has to be best. So, this makes us to understand one thing. They are like idealists. Ilane undali అనేసి చెప్పడం. Right? But what is means what exactly the present situation is happening. They don't speak about the present day situation. They speak about the ideals. What ought to be. ఏది ఉంటే చాలా బాగుంటుంది. They will speak about those things. Like they are like బయటకు వెళ్తే చెప్పులు వెళ్ళాలి, చెప్పులు వేసుకొని వెళ్ళాలి, చెప్పుకెళ్ళాలి అనేసి అంటుంటారు. So they are like that type. But if you are going out because of some reason without informing, then that is called what is. They don't look at what is. They say that what ought to be. They are like idealists. What ought to be. They are always bothered about what ought to be. Right? The fourth point is they are prescriptive in nature. Prescriptive in nature rather than rather than practical in nature. Practical in nature. Prescriptive in nature. They will suggest you this has to be the thing, this has to be the thing. They're not bothered whether that is going to work or not. They are suggestive. Prescriptive means suggestive. They're more suggestive rather than saying that what exactly the point is. So these are the basic features. The essential features are of this philosophical approach is this. One is it is normative in its approach. The second one is it uses methods of logical reasoning. The third one is it discusses about what ought to be. The fourth one is it is prescriptive rather than being practical in its way of approach. The fifth one is it is just suggesting the things rather than making it practical. Right? These are philosophers. They say this one only. They are not bothered about how the situation is going to work, or they are not going to bother about whether exactly it is going to work or not. So these are the features. Now, who has propounded this? Plato has propounded this, and Plato clearly said what he said in his initial years. A good life is nothing but a good political life. A good political life can be possible only with ethics. That is what Plato clearly said, and you have to write it. Because of these type of sayings, they have said that they have confined political science to the so-called philosophical approach. The next one is these are the features. Now, what are the criticisms? The criticisms are that many people criticized making philosophy, particularly Machiavelli criticized that you are making politics to be a sub-discipline of ethics or philosophy. Because of this philosophical approach, politics is not going to survive. Why Machiavelli said is you come out of your domain, that is called you come out of the so-called ivory towers that you are sitting, particularly in your philosophical approach, rather come and see the facts. So Machiavelli said that you are killing it, look at the facts and tell what exactly is. Because he is of the opinion, rather than philosophy, if someone is waging war on the state, if your philosophy is saying that I should not injure the other person, and if you are not waging or facing the war, obviously your kingdom is going to be lost. In the end, it is the state which is going to be suffered. Hence, politics and philosophy has nothing to do together. Right? The first duty of the king is to protect the people, and he has to protect it at any cost, whether that is ethics or unethical. So it has been criticized by the so-called uh, historians or so-called the so-called Machiavelli. Then it was also criticized by behavioralists, saying that you have made the subject irrelevant because your subject is not going to serve the practical life. Hence, people are not interested in studying your subject. Hence, they criticize this philosophical approach, saying that, see, you have been relegating the subject, the so-called a very back level. As a result, people are not getting interest in studying the subject. As a result, they have started questioning this approach. The next one is not only this, there were some critical schools which said that these normative schools are very biased. For example, feminists say they are very biased. Why biased? Look at policies, look at logics, look at the so-called morals. Morals apply one to one person. For men, morals are different. For women, morals are different. How you have framed it? So you are under the disguise of the so-called philosophy. You are supporting the non-giving of rights to women, non-giving of rights to vulnerable sections, because these norms have been framed by those who are in power. As a result, they say that you have been reorienting or you are very biased. Critical school said that they are very biased in its nature because it is contributing only to the so-called men. So again, critical school is one opposition that they faced. Next phase is that they face, next few people said that they are armchair experts. Armchair experts, and these armchair experts are propounding armchair theories. What is armchair? There will be a chair, just we'll be keeping our arms on that, we will be resting our arms on the chair. By drinking coffee and tea, we will be telling this has to be not done in this way, this has to be done in this way, this has to be done in this way by sipping coffee. Right? That is what we do. So they said that all these philosophers are like armchair experts. They sit in their armchairs comfortably under AC and then they are going to propose their theories. So they said that neither these are experts, they are armchair experts, and these theories are armchair theories. Hence, these theories won't work in the practical life. Why they said this, they don't work in the practical life? Because they are not worried about the facts at all. Verifiable facts are not there. Hence, they say that because of losing of the facts, they are going to have this thing. So this is the criticism. These are the criticism. Look at this. I have not used any criticism from my side. I have used the criticism of, on the philosophical approach, I used the criticism of historians. I used the criticism of behavioralists. I used the criticism of the so-called critical schools such as feminist schools. So you have to write your answer in the same way. Now, what is the relevance of this philosophical approach in the modern days? It has to be understood that the subject again gaining traction in the philosophical direction because of John Rawls. There was one person called John Rawls who has proposed justice, concept of justice. Because of his concept of justice, John Rawls' theory of justice, the subject started reviving and it is again closely moving to philosophical approach. In his approach, John Rawls clearly said that the state's main aim of justice is to give or to ensure that there is social welfare, and social welfare can be reached only when the state is biased towards certain sections. So he is propounding it, and John Rawls' theory has become very famous as a result. In the modern days, in the 18th century, again, this political science, again as a branch of philosophy, started growing on. So this is the story about philosophical approach. So what I said in the philosophical approach, one, philosophical approach, what is it? It is also known as normative approach because it deals with the philosophy or it is dealt as a sub-branch of philosophy. Second, the exponents are Plato, Leostross, Clemens, Daniel Germino, and Rawls. Now, what are the basic features? The basic features are four or five. One is normative in this approach. They use logics. They are bothered about what ought to be rather than what is. They are prescriptive rather than descriptive. Then, because of all these things, they got criticisms. Who criticized? Historians criticize, saying that look at these fellows, they are not looking at the facts, rather than they are giving their own ways. Behavioralists said that they are armchair experts and these theories are armchair theories because they are not backed by scientific results. So criticism by the critical schools such as feminists criticized this school, saying that these persons are biased and they are giving importance to only one sections of the community by neglecting the other community. As a result, normative approach started coming down because of the criticism. Then a new school emerged, and that school is called as the historical school. That I will tell tomorrow. Historical school, and then you have behavioral school. Right? In the behavioral school and post-behavioral school, you will study that also. So tomorrow what I am going to continue is why philosophical, you understood why philosophical approach started declining because of this criticism. Then there is a new school. Again, that school will have criticisms. Again, one more new school will come. So this is how you have to write. But whatever you are finding on this whiteboard, that is the way to answer this question. What is this? Who are the proponents? What are these main theories? What are those criticisms? And how they are relevant today? And I will tell you some quotations by thinkers. If you are adding the quotations by the thinkers here, it is going to be fulfilling your answer. Right? I'll end here. If you have any questions, you can ask me. First thing first, I just want to have a quick review whether you are able to understand what I am saying or not.
Yes, sir, I am understanding what you are saying.
Are you?
Sir, I have.
Is my voice too low, or
Sir,
am I going too low?
in my view, there is nothing like that, sir. I'm comfortably listening and I am able to understand.
Chanikya, what about you?
Sorry, actually the thing is signal strength is not good. Voice is breaking, but it was good, sir. No problem.
There is no signal strength. You can do one thing. after the video gets over, I am
Yes, sir.
uploading. You
Yeah,
download it
yes,
and
sir.
look at it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, sir. Yes,
But
yes,
do
sir.
you think that I am going too slow, or do you want me to increase the pace?
This flow is good. Good, sir.
Saitya, what about you?
It's okay to me, sir.
Are you able to understand what I am saying?
Yes, sir.
See, the first chapter will be bit dry. I do understand. At times you will also get sleep. Don't worry. Over a period of time, you'll get that knack. Right?
Sir, Aristotle and Socrates also exponents of the philosophical theory only.
Yes, they are also exponents of philosophy.
Okay.
Yes. Right?
Okay, sir.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, this John Rawls theory of justice is there, na, sir?
Yes.
It is we can say this is directly countering these critical schools like feminist school.
Yeah. John Rawls, see again, ఇది ఎలా ఉంటుందంటే స్టోరీ
Things also
one school will be
exponential.
criticizing the other school. One school will be criticizing the other school. If feminists are there, they propose their theory, again feminists will be criticized by some other fellow. So it is like a criticism game. This is like the debate. Okay, the debate is this. So we don't need to debate on the paper, rather the debate itself is present on the paper. How that is present? Because these persons, they themselves has the debate. I have shown that slide, right? Debate, nature of political science debate. They are debating. Whatever I am saying is they are the debates only. So why, how you have to write for 10 marker or 15 marker? At max you will get one question you have already seen. How you have to write what, who, what are the features, what are the criticisms, what is the present day context, done, understand, right? And you have to write and you have to elaborate it. Unlike your mains, don't write in points, you write it in paragraphs. That is more important here, right?
Sir,
Okay, sir.
kindly once explain this John Rawls theory of justice and how it will
No, I'll tell that. When I come to justice
approach.
component, you'll understand that how John Rawls tried to overcome. You have a separate topic in section A that is called John Rawls, and then John Rawls started telling his own proposals. John Rawls says his
Okay.
justice is quite different. In justice point, you will study that. Okay. Once I come to justice, that will be clear.
Sir, last thing is, sir, what is the conclusion of this normative approach, sir?
Normative approaches, see, conclusion is, I said, you have to conclude in the positive way. Again, normative approach or philosophical approach is gaining its traction, or it is gaining its relevance because of John Rawls. After John Rawls has proposed, people started again giving emphasis on philosophy in political science. That is what you have to write. You have already criticized
Okay,
it.
sir.
That doesn't mean that
Yes.
philosophical approach is gone. No. It has its own relevance. Why? Because of John Rawls. You have to end like that.
Okay.
Hence, philosophy
Yes.
is playing a very crucial role even in polity. You can also write thinkers like Gandhi. What Gandhi said: politics cannot be separated from philosophy or ethics. Right. Again, Gandhi is one person who believes in this philosophical approach. Politics has to be related with, Gandhi believes too, it has to be related with religion, it has to be related with ethics, both.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yes. You can also write in this dimension also. Say, for example, you can use some examples saying that by looking at the Indian society or Indian politics, because of the criminalization of politics, because of politicization of criminals, ethics are being lost in the game of political life. As a result, in order to revive the political science, the philosophical approach or the so-called political theory has to be moved towards philosophy. You can also give this. You can use the same content when you are discussing about the political parties in India. In paper 2, you have political parties, right? Whenever you are giving suggestions, you have to get this theory and you have to present there.
Yes, sir.
Are you understanding? So you can say
Understood,
these examples, but the best way to end this first unit is again saying that what is the relevance of this topic, or what is the relevance of this theory in the coming days. That is the better way.
Yes, sir.
Right, then I'll wind it up here. Thanks for
Yes, sir.
joining. Tomorrow I'll
Thank you, sir.
definitely come by 5 o'clock. Okay, tomorrow we'll start at 5 o'clock itself. Right. Thanks for
Okay,
joining.
sir.
Have a
Thank
great
you, sir.
day. Yes.